The fact that I just saw New Mutants leads to two very surprising things. One, New Mutants actually just came out, and two, a new movie actually just came out in a movie theater. So, this is my review for New Mutants. Yeah, I've been making a lot of movie reviews, but movies are starting to actually come out. So, this is my review for New Mutants. Hi guys, DPX here, reviewing New Mutants. Yep, said that the third time. Before we get started though, you know what to do. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to your notifications, and leave a comment. You'll be a loyal subscriber. Now, New Mutants is, as it follows, it's about this one girl who gets locked up in a mental facility with 4 other people that all have powers, and they're trying to learn how to control and everything. But it turns out their powers are going to be weaponized and everything. Now, I will say this, considering the amount of reshoots and then the studio takeovers and then the pandemic, I'm surprised this movie isn't worse. I will say this movie is nothing special. I wasn't expecting something like fucking monumental or anything. It's not worse than, or my bad, it's better than it very well could have been. I will say the cast is really good. Specifically, Anya Taylor-Joy is kind of a standout for me as Magic. She was just really good. But they're all really good. Even if the characters were a bit generic, they were fine. There are a lot of aspects of this movie was sort of just fine. Another thing is that this isn't really a superhero movie, despite it, being based off of a Marvel property. This is definitely, it feels like a horror movie in terms of the way it's structured. Like, there's not like a big final epic battle at the end. I mean, there is a battle at the end, but like, it's not in the same way you'll see in another X-Men movie even. But considering that this is more structured and everything like a horror movie, it didn't feel like that in terms of how things played out. Like, if you watch the trailers, there are some, it's edited to where it looks like there's jump scares and everything like that. But there really weren't any of that in the movie. Also, it was a little bit predictable. I mean, I guess the one twist with the main girl's powers was good and made sense. I don't want to give anything away in case you want to see this movie. But, I mean, like, sort of the reason they're all in this mental facility, like, I figured that out when I watched the trailer. And I mean, like, the very first trailer released, Jesus, 3 years ago. They're all, the humor is also nice. Some jokes feel earned and everything. Some of them were sort of random, but, it's mostly fine. One interesting thing about this movie is there were barely any characters in it. There was probably like less than 10 characters in this whole movie. And sometimes I would feel like it's sort of limiting the movie, but I feel like that being done here is actually good because it focused a lot on what the movie needed to be focusing on. Now that I try to think about it, there really weren't, I can't think of any scenes at all that like didn't have one of the main 5 characters. I'm trying to think of any actual scene that didn't have one of the main 5 characters. I don't think there was, but that's because it really focused on them, and therefore we got to know them, and we got to, be happy for them when they, by the end, And it was also just as long as it needed to be. I mean, considering that, it went through many reshoots, but as other reports said, like, they didn't actually reshoot anything. But whatever, the drama, it was short, like an hour and 30 minutes long. That seems like a red flag, but it felt just as long as it needed to be. because if it was any longer, I feel like it would have overstayed its welcome. That being said, though, it's definitely not, like, a great movie. I'm both surprised and not surprised that this movie is sort of eh. I'm surprised considering the amount of reshoots, but also I'm not surprised it's anything crazy because of the amount of reshoots. But also, the trailers, like the recent trailers, looked pretty good. So, I was expecting something, not completely shit. And it wasn't completely shit. Anyways, that's really all I gotta say about New Mutants. I'm happy I was able to go to a movie theater, kind of. I went to a drive-in theater. My first time at a drive-in theater. It was an interesting experience. I'm not quite sure if I'd want to do that again, but that's not what this is about, though. This was just a fine little movie. It wasn't anything too crazy. I wouldn't say it was bad. Not particularly that good. I'd say it's just good. That's what I'd say. This could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot better. But I feel like we long past the point where it could have been a lot better. I'm just happy this movie was better than it, could have been. That being said, though, I give New Mutants a 6.5 out of 10. I was going to give it a 7, but I'm not quite sure if I'll really ever see this movie again. And, I mean, I feel like this movie really could have been dropped on VOD. Maybe not on Disney Plus. Because now, like, I kind of think about it, I don't think this movie would go on Disney Plus. That's another thing, really. This could have been rated R. They could have went the extra mile, but, they could have just dropped this on Hulu or HBO. HBO has the streaming rights to these X-Men movies. They could have dropped it on there and would have been fine. But, whatever. You probably should see this movie, but wait till it's on a streaming platform, But yeah, that was my thoughts on New Mutants. If you like this video, comment, subscribe. Hopefully, by the end of the week or so, I'll have a review for Tenet. And, yeah, expect more videos coming soon that aren't movie reviews, aside from Tenet, of course. Alright, see you guys.